इतना सा फर्क है एक बार सोच के छोड़ देने में और लग के कर दिखाने में। मान लेने में कि जिंदगी ऐसे ही कटेगी और सुबह 4 बजे उठ के सोचने में कि अभी तो बस शुरुआत है। किसी मैगजीन को हाथ में लेने में और उसी मैगजीन के कवर पेज पे होने में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वीआईपी सीट में और उसकी पिछली सीट में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वो जिसका मैदान ही खुला आसमान है, वही कल जमीन पर तो था। पूछोगे तो बताएगा वो पंछी, ये एक दायरे में सिमटने में और पूरी दुनिया को दायरा बनाने में बस इतना सा फर्क है। इतना कितना है? इतना है या इतना है? जो नापेगा वो जाने कि जहां धरती और आसमान मिलते हैं, नानकुर से दूर, अगर मगर शायद से दूर, वहां भी दोनों में फर्क बस इतना सा है। धरती और 7वें आसमान में फर्क बस इतना सा। ये एक अंतर प्रेरणा, ये हमारी, आपकी, हम सब की अंतर प्रेरणा। एक कदम, एक छलांग, एक बाजी, एक गहरी सांस और एक ललकार खुली हवाओं में कि हाँ मैं बना हूं उन फिजाओं के लिए, कि हाँ मैं बना हूं उन ऊंचाइयों के लिए जो ऊंची तो बहुत है पर नामुमकिन भी नहीं, क्योंकि मुमकिन और नामुमकिन में बस इतना सा फर्क है। धूप छांव में फर्क बस इतना सा है। तो बस चलिए फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया के साथ ये फर्क मिटा देते हैं। फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया, 20 years of ideas.
Warm welcome everyone, and we welcome all of you to our Business Opportunity Over Chai webinar series. This is a digital representation of the business and the franchise option we are launching through this platform. This is a 45-minute session where first we'll invite the leadership team of the brand to talk about their business offering with the help of the presentation. Then we'll move towards a panel discussion. During our panel discussion, we would love to take all your queries related to the brand, and hence we request each one of you to share your queries in question and answer box. We welcome management team of Franchise India for this particular webinar. They're hosting as a team the webinar, and the business opportunity which we are launching today is Moople Institute. It's a premium multimedia training institute running largest animation production house in Eastern India. We have invited today Ms. Payal Chopra and Nidhi to talk about the brand. They are already operational with 15 plus centers and 1500 plus employees. But to talk more about the business opportunity and how you can become partner with them, we invite Ms. Chopra to talk about the brand. Thank you so much, Payal. Thank you so much, Nidhi, for joining in today, launching your webinar through our platform. Over to you, Payal ji.
Thank you so much, Archana. A very good morning to everyone who's taken out time on a Sunday morning to join us for this presentation. I hope that after this presentation, we would have made it worth your time. So I will not take up too much of your time. We'll quickly dive into our presentation. To formally introduce myself, my name is Payal Chopra, born and raised in Kolkata, and I am the business head for Moople Institute of Animation and Design. Just to give you a little bit of background on who we are, we started our journey some 15 years ago. Mr. Shubhrata Roy, who is our managing director, was one of those stories you've probably read about, who's a self-made man. He was a local school teacher teaching economics and statistics to students. And from there started his journey on fascination with multimedia and visual communication. So he started his first center 15 years ago in a one-room apartment. And from there, if you fast forward today, we have 15 successfully operating centers, 12 of which are in Bengal, and then we have centers in Delhi as well. So now let us talk more in terms of how we got there. Mr. Roy, and then from him, all of us have the passion of making our company, or rather I would say, making India the animation hub in the world. As a lot of us know, most of the work for animation industry, VFX industry is outsourced to India, very similar to the IT model where because we have cheap labor, our creative quotient is very high. So all the industry offers work to us from a cost perspective. And we also have been very, very lucky in this journey. High Tech Animation, which is our production house, is the largest production house for 3D animation content in Eastern India. We are very, very lucky and honored to work with clients like Sony, Pogo, Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network. In fact, we are probably the largest vendor for Byju's, I would like to think, to do their content creation. We are currently with 1,500 employees who've trusted us and over 15,000 plus students that we've taught, trained over this journey of the last 15 years. We offer certificate courses in animation, graphic design, web design, VFX or visual effects, as well as special effects. Uh, we would also take this opportunity to highlight some of the honors that people have bestowed upon us. Institutes like Chamber of Commerce, ASOCHAM, had thought of us to be the best institute of animation and design in 2021, whereas Ardacom Media thinks that we are an excellent institute in animation and design. So if you see from 2016 till date, we have consistently received awards in our relevant industry field, which of course goes to show how dedicated our team is, and of course, the great market opportunity that animation and design holds in today's day and age. A little bit about who we are as people, because I firmly believe that you do business with people you like. So I've already talked a little bit about Mr. Roy, who is our managing director. Moving on to Mr. Prashant Chopra. He is a director in PS Group of companies. PS Group is a very renowned developing group. They're builders in Calcutta. Predominantly Eastern region is their stronghold, but they also have presence in South India. So he holds the strategic direction for our company. Mr. Anurag Chirimar, who's also a city cable director and city group of companies, because of his very well networked, I would say he has a very good network with the media and entertainment industry. So because of his tie-ups, we are able to successfully place all our students in the top companies in the industry pan-India. Now, what do we do in terms of our courses? So like I mentioned, we have courses from animation to graphic designing, web designing, VFX. In fact, we are very, very soon going to launch our 2D animation course as well. Our courses range from 10 months all the way up to 18 months. In the meantime, we do come up with short-term courses every now and then, depending on the need of the market. So we do offer 3 months courses as well. Currently, we're offering 2 courses in the short-term space of creature animation and advanced texturing module. What we've also done to facilitate sales in our particular stream is tie up with vendors like Neve and Finance Peer, who offer loan facilitation for our students, because the students always come from a host of financial backgrounds. We want to make sure that all sorts of payment opportunities and ease of payment opportunity is available with them. Now, one of the things that I do want to talk about is a myth. Normally, people think that if you do animation, you're probably going to only have to work in animated movies. But there is so much more to our industry. It is not that if you are an animation industry personnel, you have to work in animated movies. If you look around every day when we wake up, I'm sure we all brush our teeth. So look at the Colgate packaging that you see in front of you, or the cup of tea that we pick up, whether it's Nescafe coffee, or when we order food from Swiggy, or when we use Uber to travel, when we step out of our homes and see all these posters for movies that are going to come out, or the hoardings advertising millions of products. Even at the end of the day, when we come back to our homes and want to watch OTT platforms like Netflix, Amazon, Hotstar, the content that is shown in these platforms, every particular industry has professionals working who are trained by people like us. They are all part of the animation and design industry. So the the sad part about the industry is the myth that not everybody knows that there is so much scope of our industry. However, the awareness has been paramountly increasing thanks to our finance minister. She recently in the budget mentioned about putting more focus on the growth of animation industry, gaming sector, VFX sector. So that was great boost to people like us, because we know that they finally accepted the fact that our industry is needed everywhere. The people from our industry are needed everywhere. Now, coming to a little bit more fun, this is what our typical center would look like. We try to make sure that our centers are youthful to cater to the demand of the students that we are catering to. Our students are anybody who's currently in class 10 all the way to, there is no upper limit, but ideally we do class 10 to college third year. So that's our student profile. So we make sure our labs are very funky. They are exciting space for people to come and practice. We have classrooms where we are doing a one-on-one model in terms of teacher with a very small group of students. We try to make sure that the group is limited to 10 to 12 students maximum per class, so that each student gets that dedicated one-on-one experience with the faculty and helps them in honing their skills. Moving on to our placement strength, we are very, very proud to have tied up with many esteemed organizations, both in our industry and as well as from day-to-day industries: PwC, Amazon, Prime Focus, Red Chilies, Byju's, NetScribes. If you name it, we probably have our students working with them. So that is a great honor for us. Normally, I get a lot of questions in terms of what is the average salary range that a student, a fresher, would get coming out of one of these courses. So anywhere from 1.8 to 3 lakhs per annum. Again, it can even go up more. It is purely based on merit, because it really dictates this. I mean, it is dictated by the technical skill set of the particular student. Normally, we are able to place every student within 3 months of their course being completed. So that always has been one of our stronghold areas, placement. Again, moving on, just you'll probably all of you find a lot of testimonials online. So I don't want to take up too much of our time here, but we are very, very honored and lucky to have a host of students with us who strongly believe in our brand. And of course, we get a lot of referrals from them as well. We make sure that our centers are not only a space for education but also for fun, because the kind of target audience we cater to, the youth, they need to be able to study hard, but they also need to be able to have fun in their centers. So we ensure that we celebrate each and every festival. We make it very inclusive, irrespective of race and ethnicity. Everything is celebrated, from Durga Puja in Bengal to Saraswati Puja to Christmas. We ensure that annual day picnics are organized, cricket tournaments are taking place, just to make sure that that engagement with the student is constantly maintained. Uh, Moving forward, I think, like I had earlier mentioned, there's a lot of focus that is now being given in the animation visual effects space, and we really want to capture on that. We want to make sure that our centers are providing courses that ensure that students are employable immediately after the course, and our focus is completely on employability of these students, especially with the new education policy that our Prime Minister has talked about so passionately. We ensure that every single course curriculum is designed to ensure that it is skill based and employable at the end of the day. So that is what we've always started to do, and we think like that and we design things like that. Just I mean, the growth of the animation and VFX industry is unprecedented. We are shooting up. The demand is so high that sometimes we are not even able to meet in terms of supply. Talking from the production house side, thankfully, we have a lot of work. And where we truly struggle is to get skilled manpower to join our teams to be able to deliver on time to the clients. So the demand being so high and the supply being so low in today's day and age is the ideal time to get into an investment like this. Now, I think we'll move on to a little bit more specific details about partnering with us. So, if we come to a quick snapshot, an ideal center of ours would require anywhere between 1,500 to 2,000 square feet. We're looking at an investment of up to 35 lakhs. The 35 lakhs also includes your operating cost as well as your interior setup cost. Over and above the 35 lakhs, we are looking at a franchisee fee of 5 lakhs, where our profit margin is from anywhere between 30 to 35%, and a cumulative ROI that you can look up to is about 512% in 5 years. We have a break-even model which is at 4 months. The normal uh, franchisee royalty percentage, revenue share percentages, franchisee gets 80%, and the franchisor, which is us, Moople, keep 20% of the total collections. Moving on, a little bit about how our usual center is split up. I think I will not take too much of time to go through the area demarcation, but we are flexible for cities which are little more expensive in terms of real estate. We understand that 2,000 square feet might not work immediately. So that is why we are flexible on anything between 1,500 to 2,000 square feet space. We've already talked about the investment of 40 lakhs. So just a little bit of split up where the center interior and equipment cost comes to about 19 lakhs. The franchisee fee is 5 lakhs. Working capital we estimate for the first 3 months will be about 13 lakhs. And for those who will probably have to rent space, who do not have their own space, would look to pay at least 3 lakhs of security deposit to the landlord they are renting from. In terms of revenue, in first year, we are expecting somewhere between 75 lakhs ending to 1.88 crores in year 5, with a cumulative ROI of 512% in your 5th year. We are hopeful and very, very confident that the payback will be in 1 year, 11 months. So under 2 years, you should have your payback. Our course fees range from 65,000 to 1,80,000 plus GST. And a lot of the times we get a question, how are you saying that we're going to be able to break even in 4 months? So when we move forward, we've kept our student admission numbers very, very realistic. In fact, in my mind, you will always exceed these numbers. The number of students that you would have to admit in the first year would be, first month would be 5 students, month 2, 9, month 3, 9, 14 in the 4th month, 14 onwards for the first 6 months, I would say. Whereas the total billing that we've taken into calculation is on average, our course fees, like I mentioned earlier, was anywhere between 65 to 180. So we've taken 1.25 lakhs as an average billing course amount, whereas the total billing amount is clearly shown in front of you. And the third column, the third row talks about our total collections. Now, if you look at the standard operational cost, as you can see, slowly the cost of operations will start coming up from the first month when you compare it to the 6th month. But from the 6th month onwards, the 5,50,000 operational cost is going to be more or less constant, plus minus maybe not even 10%. This is what we've already experienced having run 15 centers successfully, that about 5.5 to 6 lakh maximum should be your operational cost. And therefore, your cash flows, as you can see, start becoming positive from the 5th month onwards. Now, I would like to bring your attention to the royalty bit. So if you see royalty to Moople, that entire row is kept blank. So what we've done is for the first 5 franchisees who are going to sign up with us from this webinar, we have reduced the royalty amount. We've not even reduced, I would say we are taking 0 royalty up to 10 lakhs. Normally the 10 lakh royalty amount is calculated within the first 9 months. So within 9 months, you would have done enough business to give Moople 20% equivalent to 10 lakhs. So we understand that as investors, and we truly believe as partners of our business, we want to work with you to help set you up, get you to the break-even point, increase your payback year, or rather reduce your payback year so that we can increase the overall business profitability together. In order to do that, we are not going to charge any royalty for the first 10 lakhs, which is from our 20%. Moving on, what is it that we will give you for our 20%? So I am not going to do a detailed point by point discussion here. I'm sure all of you can read it on the slide. But basically, everything from end-to-end support to get you started, from your interiors, visuals, designs, floor plans, agreements with landlords, to what kind of PC configuration you need, giving you enough information on how to hire the right faculty. We are responsible for training your faculty and doing the technical testing, to training your sales personnel. All of that is done by our end. The marketing launch plan, how are you going to ensure that you are up for success from day one? Your team is aware of what needs to happen on day one of opening. We help you with all of that. What do we expect the franchisee to do for us? Basically, end to end operations in terms of daily sales and marketing. So, revenue generation bit is definitely the franchisee responsibility, and the entire support we take care of. So, a little bit more about what we do in terms of support. One of the things that we all have faced in the last few years is the pandemic. COVID has been a very real thing for each and every one of us. It has impacted businesses globally. However, we have been very, very lucky to not really be hit by pandemic in a way that most businesses had. And I'll tell you a little bit about why this was the case. In our marketing, most of our marketing is done through online digital marketing. Now, because students were at home, they were not outside for classes, they had a lot of extra time in hand because they were not moving around. We actually saw a distinct rise in social media searches. Our entire sales force of telecallers were able to generate business from home because we were able to deliver immediately after sale. All our classes within the first lockdown in 10 days, we had shifted every single class to an online model. We used tools like Google Meet and successfully were able to complete all of our courses. So for us to deliver our education in an online model was absolutely not a challenge, which is why our sales was constantly being able to keep up and we were able to sell. Uh, as far as placement is connected, because the demand for OTT content went up drastically, movie theaters were closed, we got a lot of requests for hiring freshers for matching these demands. So for us, placement actually opened up like it had never opened up in the past few years, where we saw an incremental rise in the requirement for our kind of professionals. And the best part about our course is that even for those who don't want to make this particular industry their full-time job, we also teach them enough where in their free time they can even work freelance and get a lot of revenue into their homes. So that is again something which is very attractive to the professional today, because most companies have done pay cut. I know of a lot of companies who are cutting a percentage of salaries. So I know a lot of my students who, along with working in a regular job, were doing freelancing to supplement that income that they had lost out from a standard company. So that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about today. And I would be more than happy to answer all your questions now.
Thank you so much, Payalji. And this was a wonderful presentation. And friends, I'll request all of you, please write any questions that you have on the business model. If you have a location available in mind, please also use the Q&A box and we'll take up all your queries. And if you can remove the slide, Payalji. And just a quick recap on the opportunity and also the industry. The animation multimedia industry in India is going through a very, very big boom currently. And we have seen the reasons which Payalji mentioned in the presentation. And with improved technology, there's a big growing demand for animation and also VFX technology. The industry currently is in huge requirement of new and fresh talent. However, there's a big scarcity of talented and trained manpower in the field. And we do have a lot of creativity around us, but the same is not skilled professionally for the industry to actually reach, or I would say compete at the global standards. And the industry, when we look at it, is not just limited to the film industry, but education training, which we just talked about, is also a booming sector, which has a big requirement of animation, with introduction of e-learning, real classroom teaching, all that is being replaced by computer-based learning. So this is an added, I would say, advantage. And today, all these sectors need services of expert animation multimedia professionals to develop creative content which can be interactive and qualified enough to attract prospective, end users. And also, when I talk about, Moople, this is one of the leading companies in the space. They come with more than 22 years of experience. And this is a company which is a unit of high-tech animation, and they offer certification courses in animation, graphics, web designing, motion graphics, and they also have degree programs. And if I look at the the industry also, Kolkata being the cultural capital of India, this is also a very big talent hub, and being one of the biggest creative destinations in the country, animation companies courses in Kolkata have some of the best design courses where they churn great skills for the industry for the future. So what we're looking at, friends, is in terms of financials, is an area of 2,000 square feet, 1,500 2,000 square feet of space, with an investment of 24 lakhs, where we have 5 lakhs as your franchise fees, and then there is a balance fee which is 13 lakhs, which is a capital or a working capital that you need to retain with you. You don't have to invest that money at the start of the business. An additional 3 lakhs, which is a security deposit towards the property, the location, the center that you would block for. And also as a special incentive to I would say people who would convert from the webinar, and also for a lot of new partners who would come in, the company has given a very special incentive where up to a business of 10 lakh, the company will not charge any royalty. So after the business hits that benchmark of 10 lakhs, there would be a 20% royalty which is given to the company. So I'll take some question from the audience also, and I'll also give friends, please mention if you already have a location, city, mention that, and we'll check on the same. So before I take up the questions, Payalji, I'll take a couple of them. I think industry we have talked, and this is sunrise industry, a relevant industry. We have a very big demand globally, India including and I had some questions while you were taking through the presentation, and if you could give us a little understanding on unit economics of the business, and we talked about month on month number of students, and we also have many courses that we talked about from animation, graphics, web design, motion graphics. There are many courses which children come from and take admission in. So I'd like if you can explain a little bit on how the unit economic works. Typical do we have standard charges for every course one comes in? Which are the courses perhaps that gives you maybe a higher fee than the others? Over to you.
So thank you, Sonia. So basically, we have fixed fees for each of our courses. So our graphic and motion graphic course, which is a 10-month course, is an 85,000 fee. Similarly, our animation is 1,80,000. So every single course, what the fee should be, how many classes should be taught, how should they be taught, all of it is already pre-planned and set. So it is not something that is going to change from city to city. It is basically a standard. Of course, tier 2 cities, we are looking at doing slightly lower priced courses, but for cities like Delhi, Kolkata, Mumbai, the course piece is going to be the same because the duration, the faculty cost, everything is more or less the same when we look at these kind of cities, right? In terms of, you had mentioned just a little earlier, and I wanted to kind of add on that, is why are we the right partners to partner with in terms of this particular industry? Now, normally any education institute, when they are teaching courses like animation and graphic designing and web designing, they usually have a standard curriculum that they make. Now, I wouldn't say there is anything wrong with that curriculum, but what we do, which I think is a little better, is we have our own production house. So because we are already delivering to clients, we know what is needed, what tools and technology is needed, what softwares and plugins the students should know in order to get placed in the industry at the end of the day. We incorporate those in our curriculum, which is something that we keep revising as quickly as even a year. So every year we relook at the curriculum and we change that, and we make sure that the new softwares, new plugins are included. For example, and I know I'm maybe going a little technical here, it's a short example. Blender is something which is now currently being used quite a bit. Now, traditionally, animation has always been done using Maya. So what we started doing is we started incorporating a lot of Blender tool training as well in our courses to make sure that when the student goes out and really wants to get a job somewhere, the company doesn't have to teach the student Blender. They have learned it from us, which ideally other institutes have not started doing already. So we make sure that we're literally always with the current industry requirement. And because we've done that, I think the response for us has also been extremely well.
That's helpful. And just understanding, on our go-to market, because we would be entering a lot of locations where we are currently underserved, we don't have presence, So what would be an ideal approach towards go-to market, maybe the initial marketing, which is supported by the company, expected from the franchise partner. And, from the time he perhaps takes the center to the time he launches, what all goes, in that duration, and how long is that duration? Is it 45 days till the launch? And what all activities do you advise a partner to initiate, so that the first month, which you're talking about, where we have at least 5 students, and then subsequently we have more students being added in the following months, what is the advice that you want to give them?
So basically, I would say maximum of 2 months from location highlighting is what we are looking at. Our interior takes close to about a month, month and a half at the most, which is also the time we start guiding the franchisee to start hiring their sales personnel, so that while the interior work is going on in the parallel, we are training the teams, so that on day one of launch, the sales team is completely up and running. Faculties are also being hired at the same time, whereas they are getting trained by my educational HODs to make sure that they are upskilled to teach our kind of curriculum. So all of this end-to-end time frame would be about, Sonia, maximum of 2 months.
And what kind of pre-marketing do you also support your partners to recruit the initial set of, or maybe, recruit, if not directly recruit, but you support in terms of marketing? Is there a go-to-market plan that you have that you advise your partners to follow?
Basically, the go-to-market plan is very, very simple. When it comes to recruitment, we have a recruitment team on board. So for the first set of recruitment, we will absolutely help them by recruiting that first lot of personnel. Now, I understand that somebody who's opening a center in Delhi, for say, I will not be able to physically meet the candidate, but today, because of Google Meet, we are trying to do everything we can to make the lives of the franchisees easy. We make sure that for the first lot of people that they are hiring, whether it is a faculty or the front office or the counselor or the telecallers, we are doing that recruitment jointly with the franchisees, so that they are very comfortable in the hiring process. And once they have reached that comfort zone, we kind of hand over to them for the day-to-day management. Similarly, the marketing launch in terms of how to promote your brand, whether you're postering in that area or you are putting up hoardings or you're doing leafletting or you're doing Facebook campaigns, advert campaigns, we have a complete strategy to make sure that from day one, they are capable of starting to launch the center successfully and start doing business on day one itself.
Helpful. And now, when we talk about these expenses, which are ongoing expenses at the center, and we've talked about working capital of, 13 odd lakhs. So typically, what all have we considered, when we keep a component of 13 lakhs, one, and second, even understanding maybe the financial dynamics of operating cost, what should be the ideal rental of locations we're looking at, ideal, ground floor, first floor, what kind of ideal locations we would look at, and towards even the staff, what kind of staff we need, number of people, the average salary, and what would be the EBITDA margins or absolute margins one would be left with after incurring all these expenses end of the month.
So Sonia, I think what might help really quickly, because I think we have a few minutes to spare, is if Nidhi can open a glimpse of the sheet that we've made, just to give you and the people in the webinar an idea of how detailed we are in terms of our working. So basically, from how many people you need to hire, what their salary ranges are, we have covered every single thing. So when we're talking about operating cost, we have included every single item you would think about, even something as small as tea and coffee for your staff. So give us just a second, and I think we're just going to open up that screen. Nidhi, if you can just share the Excel.
Yeah, just doing that.
So if you go to, if you zoom in a little bit on the summary sheet, we've accounted for line item wise, how much would you be spending on painting the center, how much would the flooring cost, how much should the air conditioners cost, things like that, even trade license. And, how much should you be actually investing in your pre-launch activities. So when we talked about the actual investment, it includes 2 lakhs that we're advising a franchisee would have to spend. They're not paying that 2 lakh to us. They're actually spending that on doing the local area awareness creation about their center, right? So if you move to the P&L statement, Nidhi. Right. So here we've talked about month-wise and year-wise, what should their collections be against their operating cost and how much royalty. So if you look at row 8, you would see that for the first 9 months, we've removed that and kept that blank because that amounts to about 9,40,000 plus, which comes to the royalty fee part. And then only starting the fourth quarter would they come to a point where they will start taking royalty. Now, if you come to a franchisee income statement, Nidhi, I think which will answer some of Sonia's questions. And if you can just zoom in a bit for us, thank you. So if you're looking at the ROI, we've already talked about that. If you're looking at the total expenses, it's right here. Your correct. Your margins here is any starting 11% all the way to 35%. So all the detailing in terms of what we need, we've captured every single thing in our model. And if you go to now the operation cost, which I think is what was the final question. Nidhi, if you can go to the operation cost tab. So here we've accounted for how many personnel you'll need, including what increment you would have to give them year on year. So what would be your employee cost? We ideally estimate not to exceed the rent of property to more than 1 lakh, what your electricity cost would be versus the software license cost, which will of course increase over a period of time, which we've incorporated in our financials, because that actually would amount to what we really need them to use, the actual software cost. What should be your local marketing budget month on month? How much are you going to spend on computer rent? So we've done a detailed mapping on every single thing. So I would be very confident when I say that after this sheet, if the franchisee is experiencing any additional cost, that would be very negligible.
It's helpful, Payal. And friends, I'll request if you have any questions, you want to understand these financials in detail and you want to continue this discussion further, we also have a discovery day that we have arranged, and we'll be more than happy to extend and block that session with the team of Moople for all of you. And but one thing, Payal, I think that I heard about the structure where there's a 10 lakh up to a business of 10 lakh, there's a waiver on the royalty. And how is that actually calculated? Are we looking at 10 lakhs on the billing, or are we looking at 10 lakhs on collection?
Great question, Sonia. So basically, it's not 10 lakh business. We are giving a royalty amount of 10 lakhs free, which is even a better deal. So basically, just to give you perspective, if somebody were to sell something for 100 rupees, ideally the franchisee would get 80 and I would get 20. Now, keep adding my 20 till it reaches 10 lakhs, and that is the amount that I have given off. So they will continue getting their 80 like they've been getting. I'm not going to charge my 20 for the amount that adds up to 10 lakhs. And after the 10th lakh amount is over, then I will start raising my 20% invoice.
Okay, so this is kind of your contribution to them worth 10 lakhs.
Absolutely. Because we understand that when you're setting up a new business on day one, you have a lot of things that you're learning. It is like let's say it's a very nascent stage, and we don't want to overburden our franchisees at that point by adding royalty immediately. So we understand that they also need a few months to kind of get their bearings around them, figure out how things work. No matter how much support we give, when you're taking up a new business, you will always have questions. You will always be dealing with new things, and you want to make sure that we can make that ride as easy as possible.
And how long does it take for somebody to reach that 10 lakh? And again, how is that calculated? We're looking at billing, we're looking at collection.
We are looking at complete collection only. So what happens ideally, I'll clarify that. Say, for example, a course fees of 85,000. Now that student has multiple options of paying that 85,000. They can either pay lump sum all at once, which happens, but very rarely, because it requires a certain amount of money available for the student. Loan, of course, helps because we get that entire tranche, entire payment in the first tranche. But we also give EMI options other than the loan. We give deferred options where alternate month students can pay. So we have multiple payment options. So we take only collections. Whatever physical amount comes to your bank account on that month, we will calculate 20% of that amount, and we will make it zero till the time it reaches 10 lakhs. Estimating however many sales we need. So in order to break even, they would need about close to 37 students to be admitted in the first 4 months. I don't think that's a big number at all. If honestly, on average, a center should easily be able to do 15 students. Whereas we've taken a very, very realistic approach, knowing that it's a new center for them, and for them to come up to speed, it will take a little bit of time. So these are realistic numbers. whereas the royalty is calculated completely on collection amount, not on the billing amount.
Okay, and how long does it take, to reach that level? So when we say 10 lakhs worth business, are we looking at 12 months kind of a
So actually in my
timeline?
case, it takes anywhere between 9 to 10 months. So ideally before 10 months is over, they should have already done enough business to enjoy the 10 lakh benefit of royalty from my end.
All right. And you talked about a break even. So what you said is we need 34 students for a break even or for an ROI to start reflecting?
37. So basically what we've done is we've calculated, like I told you earlier, on average, a course fee is about 1,25,000. Because there will be students who are admitting themselves in the 85,000 and there'll be one who will charge, say maybe 2 lakhs. So on average, we estimate 1,25,000 of sales will happen per student. And keeping that in mind, along with how much money we actually are expecting to collect from them. See, not every student will pay you lump sum. Vis-a-vis, not everybody will go on an EMI model. So again, we have a standard format based on our experience that we know that this much of collection is expected every month if you admit this amount of students. Keeping all of that in mind, we figured that if you're able to acquire 37 students and we are letting go of our 20% royalty, your break even will fast track itself to 4 months. Now, in this, if you were able to get more students who converted to loan students or more who are paying lump sum, it can actually even be shorter.
All right. So 37 students. And as per your experience on an average, how long does it take? It takes a 4-month timeline for somebody to reach that number of 37?
So I think somebody can reach 37 easily in 4 months. I mean, let's even round it off to 40 at the most. It's 10 students per month. Whereas we've started by giving a business 5 students in the first month, because we know that, the team is also learning how to sell. They'll take a little bit of time to get their confidence and groove. So we are very confident that if the team is working, then you will easily be able to do our targets.
Helpful. And how about placements? What is the support that we give to our franchise partners in terms of placements? I'm sorry, I missed that.
We do end-to-end placement. So our franchisees actually don't have to do any placement activity on their end. We will do placement from company tie-up to actually sending the candidate for interviews, to getting them placed, to getting that entire cycle closed is my job. That is my 20%.
And typically, what is the salary structure file? What kind of placements they get? What kind of earning maybe a fresher earns approximately?
A fresher would earn anywhere between 1,80,000 to 3 lakhs. Now, what we've also understood is when companies like MPC hire, the fresher salary per month is 50,000. But I also understand not every company is MPC. So when you average it out, we would say anywhere between 180 to 3 lakh per annum is a fresher salary. Now, what I do want to highlight to you is something very interesting. So for example, if you hire a telecaller, they get maybe 10,000 fresher salary, let's say in a place like Calcutta, right? They will continue to get 10,000, maximum 15,000 for the next 2 to 3 years or 4 years. However, our freshers are very skill-oriented people. So even if they're starting at 180 to 3 lakh, the beauty of our industry is that in 3 years' time, they will triple their salaries. Again, that is provided that they are putting effort in their skill.
Helpful, Payal. And also, I'd like to understand which are the important markets, for you. Are we looking at pan-India expansion at this point in time? Are we looking at a phased expansion? And also, what kind of geography are we giving to a potential partner to operate within? Are we looking at is there a thumb rule? And I'm sure, depending on the potential of the place that we are in, that would further be defined. But is there a thumb rule of, how many centers we put maybe in a city like Kolkata, in a city like Bombay? And my other question was on the rollout, what cities are we focusing? Over to you.
So basically, I am absolutely open to a pan-India rollout, but we are wanting to do it in a phased manner. We are really, really excited to launch because we already have a good presence in East. We want to now move on to the West and also to the North. So Delhi NCR region is of course a focus. We already have one center in Lajpat Nagar in Delhi, and we are looking to add at least 4 to 6 more centers in that space. We are also wanting to open up more centers in the Maharashtra region, whereas our target is 5 centers in Mumbai and 2 centers in Pune. But that is not to say that we are not open to other locations as well. The reason we want to do a clustered approach is because if we have enough centers in a specific location, we will be able to provide a lot more support in terms of branding and PR activities from a headquarter perspective. In terms of a regular center, we always would like the center to be located near the educational hub of the city. Now, if a particular franchisee has their own space, we're very open to that, but we want to also ensure that that space is suitable to generate enough business in the long run. So we make sure it's a buzzing area with a lot of footfall. We want to be in the heart of things, like Lajpat Nagar, Delhi is literally in the heart of things. So similar locations where there is a lot of footfall, easy transport connectivity, these are some of the things that we look at.
Sure. And I think before we close, and my last question would also be on the training and recruitment of the staff, which is a very, very important part of running and operating a successful center. So how is that supported by you? Are we recruiting ourselves, or are we only advising on the recruitment, KRA, and training the staff?
So basically what we do is recruitment for all profiles. We provide very detailed job descriptions to the franchisees in the beginning. Couple of months, I would say we are there to help them, guide them, even in cases hire for them on their behalf. Whereas faculties are concerned, I know it's a very technical space where an investor or a franchisee might not have any clue on how to hire an animation faculty or a graphics faculty or a web faculty. So what we do is we help them by sourcing CVs. We ask them to source CVs, but as far as the technical test is concerned, all of that is done by our end. Teaching of the faculty, training the trainers, we do that ourselves, and constant upskilling of faculties is always something that we do on our end.
Absolutely. So friends, we are open for all locations, and Pramod ji from Indore, we would be happy to share the entire presentation with you. And we have a teams in East India who are actually leading the project. So we'll send the complete information. We'll also set up a call with the team, following tomorrow. And before we close, I'll request you for your final words, a message that you want to have for all the maybe prospective investors who have joined both live and on the webinar.
So thank you, Sonia. I think what I would like to close today's webinar is, I had mentioned this earlier, I like to do business with people I like, and I'm hopeful that we will prove to be very, very strong partners for you. We want to make sure that both of us succeed. I am of a strong belief that it has to be a win-win situation for both parties. It has to be a successful marriage. So we want to ensure that from the franchisor perspective, we will be available to offer end-to-end support, guidance, and understanding in terms of getting you up and running. And at the same time, we also expect that the franchisees are people who really want to invest their time to ensure that they are getting their returns. I can't do the returns single-handedly. So like I said, it has to be a joint partnership. We are one of those business models where if both teams are working simultaneously, the 512% cumulative ROI is absolutely achievable. So we're very, very excited to have these partnerships in future with these kind of people.
Okay, thank you so much. And friends, thank you all for being with us. We'll request you all to reach out to us. We have a discovery day that we're planning in the coming week. Any questions that you have, we like to take that one-to-one. And the date that we have reserved for Discovery Day is 12th of March. We can start blocking your slots. In case you would like to make yourself available even after or before, you can reach out to us and we can do the needful. And with this, I'll request Archana if you can kindly take it over for your closing remarks.
So thank you so much, Payalji. Thank you, Nidhi. Thanks, Sonia ma'am. Thanks all the dear participants for joining in today. As we said, we are keeping a very special day for you to interact with Payalji, which is which is 12th of March. So please book your slot with us at our business hotline number, as well as you can write to us at feedback@franchiseindia.in. In case you wish to share your suggestion, feedback with us, connect with us at our different social handles. Also join Gaurav sir and Sonia ma'am at their LinkedIn IDs to get the information about different events, different associations and franchise options provided by our site. And tomorrow, under our 12 p.m. webinar, we are bringing the brand which comes from a retail background. Honey, the brand comes from Gurgaon, and they are providing you the business opportunity as well as partnership. So join them by joining tomorrow our webinar. Webinar can be joined by doing registration. Registration link is available at our Facebook page. All connect with us at our business hotline number. Thank you once again for joining in today. Have a great day ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you, friends. Have a great Sunday ahead. Good evening.
Thank you so much.